According to new research from Amazon Ads and Skift, 97% of travelers will take a leisure trip in the next year. These customers are looking for more than a deal. They're looking for a new experience. Travelers discover destinations through entertainment, recommendations, and everyday moments, with 1 in 4 finding their next destination while streaming shows and movies. That's where Amazon Ads comes in. Amazon Ads Solutions empowers advertisers to engage travelers across Prime Video, Twitch, and shopping channels with personalized messaging that inspires and converts. Ready to transform your travel marketing? Visit advertising.amazon.com to learn more.
Woo! I love that new intro. It is so much fun.
I was going to say, that was spicy.
Woo! By the way, this is the fabulous Katie Klein for those that don't know, but you should know. I always get so excited when you come and join. I just have so much fun with you.
You're to start my day with you is a highlight for sure.
Same girl, same. Totally.
Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Why do we, look. Okay. So perfect. Okay. We got Lou joining us from Charleston. Why don't we let everybody know where we're joining us from? Okay. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, is that Paul Manzi? There we go. Let's go, Will. There you go. So I'm here in very cloudy Los Angeles. It is wild all week. It's been so cloudy in the morning. Like you can't even see the palm trees. It's nuts.
That is really disappointing, but I am in very cold New York, so I feel worse for me. It is freezing. We've had snow. I think it's going to be a very snowy winter. Yeah.
Ooh, yes. I love that you were like, that's disappointing, but I'm in really cold New York. Oh, cry me a river.
I'm very jealous of the West Coast this time of year.
Yeah, right. It's wild, but yeah. So okay. Good morning, Christelle. Also joining us from Palm Beach. Oh, chilly. Is it chilly Palm Beach because it's 75 degrees? Because we know how that goes in Florida. Florida doesn't get that cold. Well, parts of it. Well, this is so great to have you on, this also, yeah. Oh my God, by the way, you know this, but like seriously, it's always great to have you here. And this is going to be marking our last Good Morning Hospitality for the year for 2020. How are we here? I don't know how we got here, but we are.
I know. We can almost taste 2026. It's so close. But even saying that out loud, 2026, it still sounds very sci-fi to me.
Yeah. I could see that.
Very futuristic. How are we in 2026?
I feel like next year is going to be a big year. I feel like there's a lot, and I'm not talking about like personally. I mean, sure, personally, but I feel like there's just a lot is just going to continue to happen. A lot of things are going on. You know, obviously there's World Cup. You've got America 250. It sounds weird to say, but like the 250th birthday anniversary of the United States.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Route 66, I think, is also celebrating 100 years, right?
I think, is it 100 years?
Yeah.
I should know because Route 66 is literally like 2 blocks that way.
There you go.
that away. That away. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it's going to be a big year, but well, kind of before we get into that, we should talk about what's going on right now. There's a lot that's going on in the world of travel. Definitely a lot that's going on in the world of airlines, but just like key findings. So if you are cool, you want to dive into it? You ready?
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, let's get started. Okay, so this article is fascinating, called "The Ugly New Math: Crushing Hotels." And first of all, I think it's actually a great title, and but what it's kind of talking about is how just the cost of everything, like the math ain't mathing anymore when it comes to hotels, like the cost of labor, the cost of food, the cost of so many different things. And then how much they're able to actually increase the rate of rooms hasn't been able to match the same increase as the cost of just day-to-day, living and operations, I should say. So did you get a chance to check out this article? It's super fascinating.
Absolutely. I mean, Sarah, I think you and I are eternal optimists, but
Yeah.
this article, I have to say, it paints a bit of a doom and gloom picture. Sean O'Neill did a fantastic job reporting the facts and really looking
Yeah.
at how operators, particularly in the US, are facing this profit squeeze.
Oh,
Labor, like you said, taxes, insurance, both health insurance, rising insurance costs for the buildings because of these natural disasters that are starting to happen,
mhm.
energy costs soaring. I- it's not looking great. And to
Yeah.
survive, hotels are cutting hours. They're adopting AI, as we know and we talk about a lot. They're exploring ancillary fees, and we know guests are not going to be happy about that.
No, no. You know what's so interesting? Because in reading this, and I actually posted this video. I don't think I posted it on LinkedIn. So you LinkedIn folks, sorry, you missed out and you should follow on Instagram. But I posted it on Instagram as well as TikTok about a potential new fee called a check-in fee. And will people pay an early check-in fee? Uh,
Mhm.
are people willing to pay to check in early? And not like a fee as in the whole night rate from the
Mhm.
night before, which I get into that conversation with my clients all the time, but not everybody wants to pay the entire nightly rate just to be able to check in 3 hours earlier. So that was fascinating. It sparked a big, quite a bit of discussion. And so, yes, these ancillary fees from that to, I mean, definitely really being mindful about the late checkout fees. Um,
Mhm.
oh, Jason, good morning, Jason. Thanks for joining us. He read the article. With labor costs up 9% and revenue flat, hotels can no longer afford inconsistent service. The only path to profitability is the guest loyalty that comes from operational standards, not fragmented binders and tribal knowledge. Well said, Jason.
Yeah, dropping some knowledge this
Yeah,
morning.
exactly.
Absolutely. That is true. And the conversation around loyalty is being had. And I think
Yeah,
that's really he's touched on such a great point right there,
yeah,
which is what actually makes you loyal. And there's been a lot of conversations about the big hotel groups claiming, look how many people we have in our loyalty program. But if me as the traveler is part of 10 different loyalty programs, am I
yeah,
really loyal? So I think what Jason just touched on there, it's actually that experience that's going to
yeah.
either cause us to return or cause us to choose someplace else in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely that's interesting that you say that about loyalty because I'm always like wherever I stay. I mean, I'm part of several loyalty programs. I have status at different ones, obviously,
Yep.
and I certainly travel more than the average American does. But so it can't be like a complete comparison, but yeah, the loyalty it's a huge aspect of
Yeah.
it, and yeah, moving forward, it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
Also, unionized markets, that's huge. I've got a dear friend of mine who is the head of people and culture at a very big hotel brand. And she and I were just talking this weekend just about different things. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize these particular hotels were union. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, how is it? And it's very challenging. Obviously, different markets, it's the amount of union properties are different. New York, I
Mhm.
know pretty much everybody is union.
Yeah.
LA, it was a slow trickle. There was the longest time that most of the hotels weren't union. And now I think it might be 50-50.
Sean talked
And
about something interesting in the article with that too, about how a lot of markets on the positive side have gone through their union negotiations. And so that
yeah,
biggest hike is this year, 2025, and next year, and then hopefully a bit of a tailwind coming for them. But the
yeah,
exception he pointed out was New York, as you just touched on. And with World Cup coming next year, the fear is that will workers strike before that and really push because they are in quite a place of leverage there. But
yeah.
then this goes back to labor being the biggest cost that these US operators are incurring right now.
No, totally. I mean, I know that and it's wild too because it's Los Angeles, they're set to raise minimum wage to $30 an hour. Is it that already in New York or is it close to it?
I think it said what LA, it was set to raise minimum wage from $18 to $30 an hour
Yeah.
by 2028.
No, no, no. That I know for LA, but do you know what it is in New York?
I'm not sure.
Remember, I feel like it might almost be there. They're definitely like very close. But yeah, so definitely interesting stuff that's going on with that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, but we'll see. Continue to see. Okay, so we'll say some more good mornings. Good morning, Casemiro. Oh, there we go. And then your actual handle didn't come in. You used to drive fuel tankers now, or you drive fuel tankers now, but you'll always miss Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is a lot of fun.
Yes, worth missing.
Yeah, that it is. All right. Well, why don't we go on? I know that we talked about this. I mean, we'll see what ends up shaking up next year.
Yeah.
Just because this is in essence the new normal.
Mhm.
So we'll see how that ends up continuing to translate. But loyalty will certainly play a huge factor into it.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, our next topic here, airlines, also so crazy. There
Lots to
is
talk about.
a big shakeup that's happening. This leadership shakeup. Am I on the right article? Yeah, exactly. So fascinating because a bunch of different airline CEOs have been changing in the past couple of weeks. And the big one that would be like for us is Frontier Airlines, Barry Biffle.
Yes.
There we go.
Stepping down after an 11-year run. And we just saw
Yeah.
him while we were together at Skift Global Forum speak on the
Yeah.
stage.
We did. When that picture was taken. Exactly.
Yep.
But what's interesting, I mean, not just him, but also, I mean, the 9 different airline CEOs have been replaced. Yeah, here we go. 9 new airline CEOs in 5 weeks. There's definitely a global reshuffle that's going on. This was a really interesting conversation or topic. But did you have a chance to kind of like look into that and do a deep dive?
Yeah. So the Frontier one is interesting because this is an airline that's really positioned itself as a low cost carrier. And now with their interim CEO coming in, they're starting to look at how can they position to capture market share from more of the premium offering, talking about things like offering free Wi-Fi. So to me, that is kind of a disconnect, especially for the customer. Like, sure, your low cost carrier customer is going to be excited by those things. But going back to what we were just talking about in the hotel sector, that's going to have cost implications as well.
For sure.
And then, like you said, really looking at this as a holistic view. In just 5 weeks, this has happened. This is 9 airlines since November. Qatar, Lufthansa making 2 changes at Eurowings and Sun Express. Avianca, Malaysian Aviation Group, Air Baltic, Transavia, which is Air France and KLM's low-cost subsidiary, North Atlantic Airways, Air Europa, and then the 9th being Frontier.
It's a wild number. I love that you actually went through and said all the names, because saying 9 is one thing, but actually saying the actual names, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on.
They span Americas, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. They cover models from the ultra low cost carriers to full service flag. So it's almost showing it's not exclusive to one type of carrier or one area of the world. This is a prolific problem right now.
Totally.
Or is it? Is it a bit of
I was going to say or.
Right. Is it a bit of finger pointing and scapegoating and saying, well, let's change the top and see if the rest changes?
Yeah, well, so also in the other article that actually talked about the fact that the 9 new CEOs in 5 weeks is happening, what I thought that was interesting is that we're kind of seeing a bit of a change. So what we're coming out of, it still was the remnants in essence of the pandemic, where they were really trying to stabilize business and kind of, figure things out. So great, they've navigated that. Now we're in this new era where cost is different, labor costs, all of this similar to like with hotels. And so it's like, okay, how can we grow from here?
Yes.
So it's in essence, it's like this changing of the guards because there's a new focus for the business. So instead of just stabilizing, now it's like, okay, growth. How do we really understand operations in today's climate? And interestingly enough, a lot of these appointments, so to speak, of these CEOs have come from within. So they've already kind of been working with the company. So they actually understand the nuts and bolts that are very specific to that airline.
Absolutely. I was going to say it is notable that most of these were planned or, part of
Sure.
succession plans.
Yeah.
Only a few of them were quite unexpected, Qatar being the one that's namely. But I think you touched on something really interesting there, Sarah, which is almost like what we needed over the last few years from
Mhm.
airline leadership may not be what we need in the next few years. Kind of like that saying of what will get you there won't
Yeah.
get you to the next place, whatever that
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
is.
yeah,
You know,
exactly, exactly, you're right.
what
No,
got you there
totally.
won't get you to the next place, whatever that one is.
Yeah.
A bit of that. Like, are we maybe ushering in a new era of innovation that will come?
Uh, I mean, I think so. We have to, and so many things have changed, and it's definitely more of a focus, I think, on the experience.
Mhm.
That's a big focus, and again, yeah, what are we going to do differently that's going to take us to the next level?
Absolutely. And talking about a new era, should we move on to our
Yeah,
next article?
yeah. Ooh, look at that smooth transition. Oh my gosh, you were taking notes from Steve. I always joke with Steve about his transitions. Oh my gosh, this is too interesting. So, all right. So the new rules of luxury. Passports don't matter anymore. This was great. And then I also love that that's Claridge's because I know a lot of the team over at Claridge's. I'm always booking my clients there. Fantastic property. But
Mhm.
it's interesting because there's this big shift that's going on in the luxury segment as far as travel's really less almost about geography, but more about access, experience, and personalization.
Exactly.
So this is it funny because just before we went live on the show, my private concierge client just asked me about getting into a very tough restaurant in New York City on Friday, for which I will try to do my little fairy magic. But again, it's not what they're paying for is not necessarily going off to these far off places, which they do sometimes, but it's about having that access. And
Exactly.
so,
And talking about how 10 years ago or so, we used to identify the luxury consumer by their passport. So they were a Chinese consumer, they were an American consumer, they were a European consumer, and that doesn't really matter anymore. And within the article referencing the original Bloomberg article, the Bloomberg writer's example I thought was so telling. He was
yeah,
walking through the hallways of EHL Hospitality Business School in Switzerland. This is a place where he said the students are walking around dressed in Cucinelli or Loro Piano. They have their laptops in $3,000 Goyard bags. But the fact that the writer, the Bloomberg writer, was walking around with a canvas tote bag from Amman, Tokyo, that is what turned everyone's heads because it represented something cooler.
yeah, which is fascinating because again, this is also not necessarily when we're talking luxury, everybody's thinking it's just like the luxury hotel space, but this is also luxury brands.
Mhm.
And it is very fascinating to see because I mean, that's a whole other like the retail space is like a whole other conversation to go into. But knowing what it is here, like in Southern California, and seeing it in other places, and knowing people that's like, oh, they're what they can get in Paris versus what they can get in South Coast Plaza in Southern California versus what they can buy in Tokyo, and there is a little bit of this their homogenization of the market, you could
Yes.
almost say, right?
Yes. And a quick call out to the comment in the chat that Manzi Digital said, I believe in Sarah's fairy magic. Me too. Me too.
That's great.
And yeah, Sarah, that also makes me think of something like the Ritz Carlton
Yeah.
collaborating with a brand like Late Checkout, which is a Madrid based
Mhm.
fashion brand. And almost like, how are we seeing those cross collaborations, those cross pollinations of those worlds, of this fashion world with this really exclusive travel world? Because I think to your point, if I can buy the same thing here, there, and everywhere, where is it that I can get those exclusive items or exclusive
Mhm.
experiences that when the writer is walking down the hall, it signals not only I own this bag, but I went to this place and I got it there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's huge. And it actually reminds me of an Instagram reel that's a friend of mine sent me. And it was a woman who was in Paris. She was staying at the Ritz in Paris. And she wanted to get a Hermes Birkin bag. And for those that are in that market or know the game, you have to have like you have to have an appointment, and you generally have to like have a buyer history to even get an appointment. She
Mm.
went to the concierge at the Ritz, and the Ritz has such a great reputation or relationship with Hermes. They were able to get her an appointment, and she ended up buying a bag. And she was like, "This is so rare." The fact that she was able to do it. So, interesting how you're kind of tying in like the luxury property and that access to
Yes.
these luxury goods.
Yes.
And it was such an interesting thing because somebody sent it to me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
And it completely makes. I mean, I know what I had to do when I was working in Beverly Hills, so I'm like, yes, definitely.
Right.
But especially in today's world, and certainly with the focus around the Hermes bags and getting in, I thought this was a really interesting story. So
Yeah, and funny that you're just talking about Paris. We just had a comment in the chat. Unfortunately, your username didn't show up, but it says, "Good evening, beautiful ladies. I'm listening to you from Paris. It's not sunny here. I guess we are just having a gray day around the world, it sounds like."
yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh man. No, I love that. So, oh wow. There's wow. Thank you guys so much for these comments. Like this is, oh, and I love this. Lou saying he buys Christmas ornaments from all the places that they travel to. Not exclusive, but it's fun to
Yes.
do.
I would argue that is so exclusive, actually, Lou. I think that's awesome. And something we did this with magnets, and we're starting to do it with Christmas ornaments as well. You look back on that and you remember that trip, you remember it. So, yeah, maybe it cost you $5, $10 now with inflation, but it is exclusive because you couldn't just go on Amazon and order it. You went on that trip and you're remembering that memory.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fascinating time in the world of the luxury space. I mean, it's always changing. And why do we care? By the way, we care because I mean, this is the market that's just continuing to grow and surge. So, I mean, that's ultimately um but ultimately why. So,
Absolutely.
shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about what's going on in New York, in your neck
Oh,
of the
yeah.
woods.
Oh, yeah. I've got some opinions on this one.
Yeah, okay. I'm curious about this. Okay, so for those that don't know, New York City casino approval. So they've approved the casinos are getting final approval. And they've got a couple that are in the works. There's a Barry's, Hard Rock, and then Resorts World is going to be, I guess, expanding, and
Yeah.
that's near JFK. So we've got Bally's, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Bally's in the Bronx, and then Hard Rock. I don't remember where Hard Rock is, but around
Hard
there.
Rock is a stone's throw from me in Queens. And
Oh,
actually, I will say that's the one overall, what I
yeah,
am excited about with all three of these projects is they are in the boroughs. They are not in
they
Manhattan.
are. I was thinking about that too.
Yes. And so essentially what experts are saying is everyone who is, pushing the casino development is saying this is going to be great for New York City tourism. And experts are arguing, well, is it? Because casinos used to be extremely exclusive. They were only allowed in certain states. And that's why it drove real demand. But as they become more ubiquitous, is that really going to help New York City tourism? The one thing that I'm excited about, as I mentioned, is
Mhm.
that all three of these projects are in the boroughs, not in Manhattan, and particularly Hard Rock Metropolitan Park. This is the area surrounding Citi Field where the New York
Oh,
Mets
yeah, yeah,
play. When there is no traffic, it is an 8-minute drive from where I live right now. The
oh, wow.
area surrounding Citi Field is desolate. Actually,
Yeah.
on the website for Hard Rock Metropolitan Park, they talk about it as 50 acres of asphalt, and that is more or less what it is. It's a lot of kind of taxi chop shops, and
Yeah.
there's just really no infrastructure there. It's not a nice area to walk around. Yet
Mhm.
Citi Field itself is beautiful and is, of course, drawing
Mhm.
in so many people. Also, right next door, you have the tennis courts where the big
Mhm.
tennis tournament coming. I'm
US
blanking on
Open,
that.
probably?
Thank you, US
Yeah.
Open.
There
Yes,
we go.
thank
Okay,
you.
cool.
Exactly. So you have a huge tourism driver right there. What they are proposing to do around there is really hoping to transform this into a true global destination, is what they are
Yeah.
saying. And that's exciting. I think that's going to bring a lot of jobs to the area. That's going to bring a lot of resources to the area. However, my one caveat and my one
Yeah.
question is what are they going to do about transportation and traffic? Because as I mentioned, that should take me about 8 minutes to drive to. On a game day, if I am driving my family there or back, it can take us 40 minutes. It is an absolute mess. There is no mass transit options from where I am to get to the stadium. Even if you are taking mass transit, you can expect to be like squeezed in like a sardine into the subway to get there. So I just really hope that for all three of these projects, that is the plan as well.
It's so interesting that you bring that up, because that struggle is very much the struggle that Los Angeles has had for years, and obviously building out their metro. And I can see similarities with the greater New York area, which is what this is.
Yep.
With kind of like the struggles as far as with Los Angeles, sort of being very spread out, and how to make sure to get everything. But obviously the New York metro the subway system is fantastic and get you everywhere. So that's a really valid point, what they're going to be doing with that. But I do like that. I think it's going to be, I think it'll open eyes for outside travelers, like for international travelers that so only just associated New York with just Manhattan. And we all know New York is so much more than just Manhattan.
Yes.
And people will get to discover other areas. And I do think that will bring an influx of money and interest. And then you'll have new stores, new restaurants, all of that. I think it's actually going to be quite awesome what it will do for the greater New York.
We have seen a huge amount of eyeballs and interest in Brooklyn, and that's awesome.
Sure.
But for us over here in Queens, over in the Bronx as well, Staten Island, we haven't even touched on either.
Totally.
We don't get that as much. So I think what you're saying is exactly right. Like there's more and more happening in the boroughs. Belmont is supposed to be done with its renovation after this year as well. That's supposed to be an incredible experience. Triple Crown horse races happen there every single year. So hopefully it is going to bring more money, more tourism, more economic drivers to these areas. And with that, more jobs.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this, what's interesting, just because for my mother has recently moved to Las Vegas. And so I've spent more time there, and it's fascinating just learning a little bit more of like the casino culture and like the different properties that are there. And so they've got the Durango Resort as well as Red Rock Casino that are off the strip. And it's interesting because that's very much, it's like, it's owned by locals. It's like, it's the FUBU of casinos for us, by us. Yeah, I said that. I dropped that. You guys, you're welcome. I used to have a FUBU shirt, and then I learned what it meant. And then I was like, I think it might be weird if I wear it. Those are my Atlanta days, guys. So yeah, that casino world is so interesting because there's a very different vibe in Red Rock Casino and the Durango Resort and Casino versus on the Strip. So I bring that up just to be as another casino heavy area, because this is part of also what the article talked about. Will it drive international tourism, or will it just kind of be like an extra space for locals to stay and play? I think either, however you slice it, I think it's great.
Yeah, I did think of you when I was reading this article, because when we were at Skift Global Forum together, we also sat in on the Las Vegas panel and talked. We heard a lot about Sphere and all the incredible things that they're doing. And that has been a huge tourism driver. So I guess also part of the question is, when these companies are saying these are going to be entertainment destinations, what else is there besides gambling? Because if you are building out something like that, where you're going to bring these amazing acts through, that is going to pull people in.
Oh, that'll totally pull people in. I mean, we've seen it in New York City for so many years, but then it's like Broadway. People go to New York and they go to see a Broadway show, but then it's like, okay, well, what else can we do?
Right.
And so then we can go to Queens. We can go check out XYZ concert or whatever it is. So it will, I think it'll be positive for both local, like those doing staycations, the local residents, as well as international, or not even just international, just travelers, whether it's from international or domestic as well.
Yeah.
So,
and Sarah, I just want to call out a lovely comment in the chat. Nice compliment to you. Hi, Katie and Sarah, listening from the Philippines. Just started a hospitality marketing agency locally. Your book, Sarah, Hospitality from Within, is so insightful.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing. That is so sweet of you for chiming in. Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you. That's
It's
so
making
great.
people's days.
No, totally. Well, be sure to connect. Send me a note. Be sure to connect so I can help support you and your business as you're growing. Connect on LinkedIn or whatever it is. So happy to do that.
And a
Oh,
lovely
yes.
comment from Kate too. Hi, ladies. Fear and
Yes.
Carrie Underwood are my top 2 reasons to visit Vegas as often as possible. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot going on there.
Mhm.
Maybe more reasons to share coming in the in the future. But why don't we do our last little topic here? Because I
Yeah.
know we might be running a little bit long, but it's the end of the year season. If you're down with it, I'm down. Are we
Let's
down?
do it.
Will you down in the back? Let us know. Oh my God, I don't know why I had to yell. You can hear me. So sorry, guys. My morning coffee has just kicked in. So our last topic for today is about Spain. Spain has been finding Airbnb for advertising unlicensed rentals. I feel like you had a lot to say about this.
Well, it kind of goes back to what we said earlier about finger pointing and scapegoating. While I understand the effort and the focus that government has on regulations, and that's
Yeah,
important, of course, I don't think
sure.
any short-term rental operator or even the OTAs disagree with that. I do think there is a lot of like, well, if we just fix this, everything else magically is fine. And I would question politicians to say, is
Yeah.
that really the cause of inflated housing prices and housing shortages?
Yeah. Well, and I'll just say this is that just in general, Spain, as far as like local residents have had this, there's this bit of this tug of war with tourists coming to them. Obviously, there's an element that they should want tourists and travelers coming because it's obviously helpful for the economy. But I mean, we all remember that famous incident. I think it was like a little bit like a year and a half ago where they were like squirting tourists with little water guns and stuff. So
Yes.
I mean, I'm like, okay, Spain, we're doing it again. Like,
It is a little like biting the hand that feeds you. And I
yeah,
do,
totally.
sometimes, and we see this at the local level, even within the US too, of like locals being upset about short term rentals and forgetting how much money these tourists are bringing into the area. And by the way, most of them are just there to enjoy, not to like wreck
Yeah.
neighborhoods or anything
Yeah,
that the
of course.
headlines would like want you to believe.
No.
And interestingly, I spoke to a friend who lives in Spain on one of the
Okay.
main islands. And he is a foreigner, but he lives there full time, works there full time for a really big, important company in Spain. And when, like you were saying about the water guns, there was a moment where locals were going around and kind of spray painting, graffitiing on homes that they assumed were Airbnbs. They did that to his home. And he's
No
like,
way.
are you kidding me? Like, I live here, I work here. So I do think we have to be careful overall of like the finger pointing and everything and really starting to just understand people's goals behind
There,
certain.
that is wild. There's a lot of finger pointing going on, I think, just around the world, not even just about travel and tourism. But I mean, I was even thinking about it here in Los Angeles, driving down the street the other day and how many buildings are being tagged. And I'm like, somebody has to clean that. Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Like, why are we in this like weird space of like destroying other people's property? Like,
Yes.
can we fast forward past this?
Right. Right. We've got a funny comment in the chat.
Oh yeah.
NIMBY for short-term rentals in the US? No way, with the crying
Mm.
emoji, crying laughing emoji.
Yeah. No, totally, totally. My gosh. Well, we've definitely covered a lot today.
We have.
It's and I love thank you for being able to join on our last show of the year before we go into 2026. Do you before we do our little wrap here, do you have any like anything that you're kind of like thinking of that you might be excited for next year? I know we touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but just like any final thoughts, like whether you had an amazing experience and you want more of that moving forward, or I don't know, whatever it might
Yes.
be.
Do you wanna do our typical little real-time
Yeah,
recap? Because I
we
have
can
a
do
good
that.
one for you today.
Okay, you prepared one? Bring it.
I did, because as it was happening in real time, I thought this is a great
This
real-time
is a
recap.
thing.
And the
Yeah,
next
sure.
time I'm with Sarah, I'm gonna tell her all about it. So it's not from the hospitality industry.
Oh, good. Even better.
Obviously, as we talked about, I live in Queens. I live in Astoria in New York City. And fairly recently, the firehouses across the city have an open house for about 2 hours on one
Okay.
certain day day. And it's really fun for kids because kids are
Cute.
obsessed with fire trucks and firefighters. So we
Yeah.
went to our local one and we walked in. I have a 3.5-year-old who was all about it. And I have a now 7-month-old who obviously didn't know what was going on. And that's fine.
No.
And we walked in and we were greeted with such warmth right away. Like, oh, are you guys from the neighborhood? So right away, like made us feel like we were a part of something. And then yelling to everybody else, like, guys, they're from the neighborhood. They're from the neighborhood. Showing us around the firehouse. You can tell they take such pride in what they do, allowing my daughter to climb on things, take pictures, to just
Oh my
have an
God.
absolute blast while we were there. As we were walking there, ironically, we saw someone lighting fires underneath cars. So I actually had to call the fire department and report this. We watched
No
their
way.
truck go. We watched their truck come back. We talked to them about it. They were like, yeah, unfortunately, this has been happening a lot with that one person, but don't worry. We've already called it into the fire marshals. The fire marshals investigate. It will be shut down. And really, the whole point is that by the time we left, I was completely in love with my neighborhood again. I had such pride in the FDNY, such pride in like New York in general. And I was like, that's hospitality. They took us in to this firehouse, made us feel so welcome, so warm to be there, and like made us leave feeling like even happier than we arrived. So that's my real time recap for today.
Oh, I love that's oh my gosh, that's a great one.
Yeah. And it takes a lot for me to say nice things about New York. So good job, FDNY.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, look, it's life is when you're living in bigger cities, like we live in, it just takes more to operate the city, and it's like at times, I happen to have my mom's visiting me right now. And like, we just talk about different things and it's like, we're looking at Los Angeles and some parts look a little bit like neglected, a little worn, but it's also think about how big it is and how many people and just the amount of use that each square footage gets. And it's like, that's a lot of upkeep. So, and that's all cities, that's all big cities,
Yep.
it takes some time. But I love that story. That's awesome. I'm trying to think of like, I've had so many wonderful moments. I, I'll just do like a little bit of this is just like, it's a classic one, but it's a little bit of a shout out to it's a local sushi place that I've been going to. I discovered it at the beginning of the year and I've now since brought 5 of my friends to this place and that's now become their go-to place. And they're so cute. Because I always go in person. The other day I ordered takeout from there and I'm like, oh, it's a shame because like I'm not gonna be able to like go in and see them. They actually saw and recognized my name on my delivery order. And whatever. Now everybody's learning everything about me. I always ask for extra spicy mayo and eel sauce, whatever. Cheesy, no judgment, okay, guys, no judgment. It's not totally authentic, Americanized Japanese food here. And they recognized my name on the order, and they ended up putting extra stuff in, and then a little note that was like, "Hi, Sarah, we hope to see you next time," which was so cute because, like, wait, what? But I mean, what a nice way to go from having that hospitality that's in the moment to then kind of extending it to even if somebody's, still having your incredible food, but just at home.
Yes. Recognizing them wherever they're at and showing that level of appreciation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
nice. Goes such a long way. Cost them $0 to do.
Yeah.
Goes back to the comment in the chat earlier about loyalty. That's what they just did.
Absolutely.
They built your loyalty.
Yeah. Oh, I'll continue to always go there. So that's for sure. Cool. Well, wow. This has been a great show today. I know we went a little bit longer, but I think it deserved to have a little bit of extra time and we covered a lot and, just kind of this wrapping up and going into next year. I'm really excited for next year. I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully you get some time off. And for those that are joining us, hopefully you get a chance to unplug yourself, spend time with family, friends, loved ones, whatever you do. Go read a book in nature if that's your thing.
Yes.
That's my thing, by the way. That is totally my thing. So
I bought a physical book, and that's what I look forward to doing. Am I ridiculous because I have a 3.5-year-old and a 7-month-old? Possibly, but like that's my
good luck.
plan
Good
for
luck.
between the holidays. So happy
Yeah,
holidays, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Happy holidays, however you choose to celebrate. So, but most importantly, I think it's a great time of year. My favorite holiday is New Year's, and it's like for me, it's like that great reset. So if you can do anything for yourself somewhere around the new year, try and like carve out if it's a couple hours for yourself to just sit there, reflect on what you've done this last year, how far you've come, and then sit there and like reflect a little bit on what you want to do this year and write it down because
Yes.
it will happen. I promise you. Write it
Sarah,
down.
you are speaking my language. I love nothing more than a little reflection and planning for the year ahead.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Well, with that, thank you guys always for joining us. Thank you for joining us on such a big year. We had a huge transition now being part of Skift. It's so grateful for that opportunity and so much more with that coming forward or coming through for next year. So please be sure, like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends about us, all the things. And next year we promise to continue to bring that early morning energy and that knowledge. And thank you all. Really appreciate it.
Happy holidays and happy new year.
Stay hospitable, guys.